All right, this is our oil pump for the basically 84 and up Sportsters. They use this on the last 2 years of Ironheads too. Uh, I know it fits up to '03. I'm not sure whether it fits '04 and up or not. I think they changed them at some point, but that's our oil pump. These are our feed gears on the bottom. You're just going to pull these out. I've already cleaned these. You've got a separator plate, which is right here. Goes in between the feed and return gears. And those are your return gears. Got a little bit of wind going on out there. And you're going to want to look at these really good and then look down in the body of the pump, down at the bottom there. See if you see any scoring in the aluminum. You can take the shaft out too. I'm not taking it out because it actually feels pretty good. There's no real reason to take it out of there. You got an O-ring right here. It seals the body or the cap. That's the cap right there. And the same thing, you're going to look at the face of this. Check it for any scoring, especially around these pockets right here. Between those two channels. This is a G-rotor pump. Don't use gears. They quit using gears, and last year for gears was 76. They switched to G-rotor pump in 77. If you look on this here, right there, that's the cavity where it picks up oil out of the gear case. That's your return line going back to the tank. Shh. I've taken the fitting out. It uses a 90-degree fitting on there. Really, that's about it. Give it a good inspection. I know there's a spec on it, but my son will have to do this because I can't see it. Hey, knock it off. There's a clearance between the, if I can get this back in here. There's a clearance between these gears here that you're supposed to measure with a feeler gauge, like between here, this lip, and one of these here. And we'll measure that later on. I know they increased the size of the return gears on this thing to cut the feed gears down, so it returned more oil. Now, what they did one year in the AMA when we were racing the 883 series, these things pump out way too much volume of oil. So the bottom end would fill up with oil down in your mini sump. So after 4 or 5 laps, you start slowing down because there's too much oil in the crankcase. It's grabbing hold of the crank, and then it's throwing it up on the damn cylinder walls, and it starts smoking out the pipe like crazy, trying to burn the oil off. So AMA sent out a bulletin with a drawing on it that you take these feed gears and you chuck them up in the lathe and basically cut them in two. So I think these are 250 thousandths, and you end up cutting them down to like an 1/8 inch. Yeah, they're right about 250. So you cut them down about 1/8 inch, and then take the pump body and put it in the Bridgeport. Actually, I did mine in the lathe. Chucked it up in the lathe, made a little fixture for it, cut an 1/8 inch off of here, and then made a little high-speed tool to cut the O-ring groove, cut a new O-ring groove, and run it like that. So what you had on here, stop, cat. your pump actually goes back together like this here. The feed line is going to come in this side of the pump, then returns on the front. So remember, you had this outer bolt on the front, and this inner bolt on the rear is what actually holds the pump body up into on the cases there. And then these two bolts here, they changed the bolts. They used to all be Allen heads, but they changed them and put two Torx bits in here. And I had that wrong. Sorry, goofed up there. I forgot I took the fill fitting out for the fill, which is back here, because I couldn't get the hose off of it, so I just unscrewed it. This is the feed line going up to the oil pump, or the oil filter right there. So these two screws right here, like I said, they used to all be Allens like that. They changed these to Torx, little button Torx heads. They're T27s. So you got a 3/16 Allen and a T27 Torx. Get down. Get off of me, cat. You want to die today? And that's pretty much it for the pump there. I'm not doing it today because it's pretty nasty out here. At least it's windy. But we'll go over the rest of the oiling system as far as the cases go and the oil pump. Behind the oil filter adapter, where it screws onto the case, behind that there's a plastic ball with a spring in it. That's what keeps your oil from running out. But like I said, I'm not doing that today. I got bikes packed in here and I can't even get to the bike over there. So we'll do that. So, you know, I'm just doing this because I'm retired and trying to stay busy doing stuff so I don't lose stuff. I see a lot of stuff on YouTube there that some of it's right and some of it you know, people's methodology or the reasoning is way off. I think it is anyway. I've been doing this for 35 years, more than 35 years, professionally, not a DIYer. But I was before PhD Master Technology, Buell Master Tech Master, and certified machine shop, welding, get the fuck out of here. Excuse me. Damn stray cats in there scratching the shit out of me. But that's about it. You know, this stuff's pretty dry to me. I don't know about you. It seems like pretty dry material to me. But got that all cleaned off and washed it in diesel fuel because I had diesel fuel here that's been sitting in a container over there for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and use it, clean stuff off. It works good. So when we get ready to put this back together, there's a procedure for putting it up there when you're mounting it up. You're basically going to mount it up loose and spin the crank while the bolts are just like barely finger tight, and you can rock the body back and forth a little bit. You're going to spin the motor over with the drive gear in there. Just spin the crank around so you're turning the drive gear, and then slowly tighten up all the bolts. You're going to torque them like 50 inch-pounds all the way around, and then spin it again. You're just trying to line this gear up with the oil pump drive gear on the crank there. Then you're going to tighten these here the rest of the way. Usually do about 100 inch-pounds on them. Is good. New gasket, of course. And as far as fittings here, I always use pipe dope. I don't use Teflon tape. It's a pain in the butt, and it doesn't always work great. Pipe dope always works. Get down. You want to get a face full of copper coat? Guess not. But that's pretty much it for that. See what I can get into next. I'm about to whip the cylinder over here so I can show you the cylinder bases. But thanks for watching. If you like my content, like, share, subscribe, whatever. Thank you. Drop me a comment if you have any questions. Okay, I've been checking the deck heights on these cylinders with these are they have 10 over had 10 over waistcoat pistons in here, just a standard flat top. And deck heights were way off. They were on the pistons were a good 5 to 10 thousandths under the tops of the cylinders here. I got the front one bolted on there. Let me grab the camera here. All right, these cylinders, the Evo cylinders, doesn't matter, Sportster or Big Twin. Deck heights are seldom right on. The deck height's just going to be, you're going to put a couple of bolts in the cylinders with some spacers to hold it down. Bring the piston up top dead center and measure from here to the piston. Piston's usually under slightly. You want them as close as possible. Now this is a Hemi head, so it has no shelf in it, so you're not really worried about the piston hitting the head. If it was a flat like a 883 or even on a Big Twin, where it's got the shelf across one side of it, really, to be honest, anything with a shelf, you want your squish to be 30 to 50 thousandths. No less than that, because you get a rock in the piston, you can rock as far as piston rocking back and forth. The piston can hit the head, but we don't have that on the 1200 Sportsters. They're not going to hit because it's a Hemi head. It's not like the later with the bathtub. So we're not real concerned about 30 to 50 thousandths because you ain't going to get anywhere near that. So these were down quite a bit. I took the base gaskets off just to check them with no base gas. Base gaskets were basically 20 thousandths. Took the base gaskets off, stuck the pistons back, stuck the cylinders back on it, down on there with no base gaskets. And I had maybe 5 thousandths over the top there, which is pretty good, pretty decent. But a couple more things on these cylinders here. I don't have torque plates anymore. I sold those when I got sick. So you want to put them in a torque plate and measure them with a dial bore, and you'd be kind of surprised at what you find there, especially on big twins. Sportsters do it too, but especially on big twins. I've had them before where you're looking at it and you throw your dial bore gauge in there, you measure it, you know. I usually measure it and usually in 12 places. I'll measure it here, here, in the middle, and at the bottom. And then on the x-axis, side to side, and then I'll measure it right over here. About right here where the bolt holes go. And you're going to map all that out and then convert it so you can see it. And what you'd end up with is on some big twins, I've had them where as much as 7 thousandths out around and tapered. So what they do is right at the bottom here, it'd be tight. And then on the x-axis, it'd be fine, or it'd be oversized slightly. So the cylinder's kind of doing this, kind of squishing together, at least down around the spigot. Sometimes, it's not on this one, but you would get an oval shape on the piston, like right around here. And what it was doing is you'd measure the cylinder, and like I said, I've had them, like I said, as much as 7 thousandths tight down at the bottom here. Now you can't these stock Harley pistons, you can't really measure them because it's a barrel face piston. But what it was doing, it'd go down at the bottom of the stroke, and because it's hot, it would actually reforge the piston. So it'd make the piston smaller across here. And I found that I had a guy with a 89 or 90, I think, FLT, that complained of an engine noise, you know, and under warranty. Take the bike out and ride it, but it was very specific engine noise. He was like, his bike would only make this noise at like 2,800 RPM going up a slight incline. You take the bike out and ride it, and, you know, I rode it and I'm listening to it. First thing I fixed on it was his cam gears. The lash on his cam gear was out, so it was loose. It was just sitting there running. You could hear it ticking like crazy because it had too much gear lash between the cam and the pinion gear. So I fixed that, took it out and rode it. I never heard this noise at 2,800 RPM. He swore it was there, you know, and went through and replaced rocker arm bushings and checked all kinds, you know, ended up, Harley's telling me to do this, replace the lifters, replace the rocker arm bushings, all that crap. And the guy, you know, get done with it, and the guy come pick the bike up and ride it, and then he'd bring it back a week later and said, still doing it, still doing it. So finally took the top end apart and took the cylinders out and stuck in the torque plate and measured them. Sure as shit, 7 thousandths tight right down here at the bottom. And ended up putting a 5 thousandths oversized set of pistons in it, just honed them out 5 hour. Takes a while to get them straight like that, but I was using a 092 quick way power hone, so with a little bit of practice you can get them straight. The other thing to look for is on these cylinder bases. What happens here, let me see if I got a straight edge here somewhere. I'll just use my vernier caliper. You lay a straight edge across here and measure it, and what you'll find is these cylinders actually, after a while, they distort like this. So it's got more meat around the spigot here, and from heat and just being torqued down, it kind of moves the liner. These liners are cast in here. I used to bore these out and put sleeves in them, slightly oversized sleeves, just to get a little more size out of them. But you bore them out. What they do is the liner is made, and then they pour the aluminum around the liner, and it's the liner's got these little ridges that stick up. They call it a spiny lock. So they pour the aluminum around there, and it sets them up. But anyway, you get basically it's like this. So it'd be tight here, and then on the edges here it kind of ramps down. Used to just chuck them up when I had access to a lathe. Used to just chuck them up in the lathe and straighten them out there, and take a skim cut. And a lot of times, what would happen is, the base gaskets, stock older paper base gaskets would stick to these things, and guys in the shop would be using razor blades or whatever. And one of the worst things that I ever see people use is them damn roll lock 3M Scotch-Brite wheels. They sit there and try to wheel the gasket off there. Horrible. You ought to see the gasket surface after that. And these things have been prone to leaking since they came out with these in '84. You go look up a stock base gasket for one of these things, it's like blah 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 whatever -84 or -83 J or M or whatever it is. Each letter represents an update. I've had them one year where they came out with a base gasket, and then a month later they had a different base gasket, and then a month after that a different base gasket. We use them steel Cometic base gaskets. Had good luck with those. As long as everything's straight here. But I'm trying to get these cut down, at least straightened up. Actually, I want about 10 thousandths cut off of them. I'm trying to find a local machine shop that can do it, that didn't going to charge me an arm and a leg. And I've checked both of these. I have a stock set up 1200s, like these ones. These are 10 over. These are standard 3.498 inch bore. That's the gasket I'm talking about. They're bare to get off of there. But I'm not real concerned about that. So that's your cylinders. And I'm just going to re-ring these things. I'm not going oversized with them, because the bores look good. The pistons are still usable. The rings feel good in the ring lands. Pistons aren't hurt at all. So somebody had done some money to work on this thing, as far as putting pistons in it and cams, and other than one cylinder head that had a screwed up spark plug hole in it, where somebody tried to put some kind of insert in there to fix it, I guess, where a plug got mangled coming out. And when they put the spark plug insert in there, it's kind of crooked like that. And the insert's fat, it's thick. And I guess when they ran the tap through there and put the insert in there, it nicked the edge of the seat, which is kind of sad, because somebody had done some work on them cylinder heads, as far as it's got bronze guides in there. They didn't do anything to the ports, but Now, when I pulled the valves out of it, the valves were toast. So were the seats. So they must not have done anything to the valves, or they did it so long ago that it was, four valve faces were absolutely eat up. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and go drink a cup of coffee. That's about it for that. Everything you ever didn't want to know about cylinders. So we're going on with this thing, trying to get out of it as cheaply as possible. I guess he wants to go try to test and tune his drag strip here sometime this year. And got to sell the other Sportster and sell the BMW and a couple other things. Get rid of some stuff, but then he comes to me and he's like, "Man, we should put some pistons in there." I'm like, "Well, you got money for that?" "No." "Then we ain't putting no pistons in there. We're just freshening up the top end and fresh gaskets and setting up everything as close as we can. And we ain't got the cams to put go a little bit, probably go 10.5 to 1 on them. I've done that before with bolt-in cams. It'll take them. I've done 10 to 1 with stock cams, and it takes it okay. Wild though, I've done over 12.5 to 1 with the right cams, so the crank and compression's right on, and the right valve springs, and the right valve and valve to piston clearance and all that. But that's it. I'm going in and drink coffee. If you guys like my content, please like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever. Have a great day. Thank you.